Alex. I just finished my practice and come spend the day with me at Tennis Paradise.
Alex Eala just finished practice at Indian Wells and decided to bring the cameras along for the rest of her day. What came out of it was not a polished PR moment. It was a genuine, unfiltered look at the person behind the ranking. The routine, the fans, the discipline, and the quiet reality of what it actually takes to be the 32nd best tennis player in the world. What part of Alex Eala's daily routine surprises you the most? The training intensity, the mental discipline, or the way her fans have completely reorganized their lives around her match schedule? Tell me in the comments. Let's start with the opening line because it sets the tone for everything that follows. Hey, I'm Alex. I just finished my practice. Come spend the day with me at Tennis Paradise. That is how she chose to introduce the day. Not a produced monologue about her journey, not a carefully worded statement about her goals for Indian Wells, just a direct, casual invitation to follow along. And the reason that matters is because it tells you something about how Alex Eala thinks about the people watching her. She's
Making tennis grow in the Philippines, and now I'm bringing a whole new audience to tennis all around the world.
Raise your hand if this is your first time at a tennis tournament. First time at a tennis tournament.
Yes.
Are you here because of Alex?
Yes. And she's humble and she works hard. Yeah.
The phrase Tennis Paradise is what the players call Indian Wells, and the name is earned. The BNP Paribas Open runs at one of the most impressive tennis facilities in the world. Stadium 1 alone seats over 16,000 people. The practice courts are world-class, and the setting in the Coachella Valley gives the whole thing a specific atmosphere that no other tournament outside the 4 Grand Slams can really replicate. This is the tournament that gets called the 5th Grand Slam, and it gets called that for a reason. The field is as strong as any major. The facilities are as good as any major, and the experience of being a player there, from the warm-up courts to the player lounge to the main stadium, is designed to feel significant.
Because she's the face of the Philippines.
Just aside from her talent, she's also thinking of the future.
The Filipinos is we have such a strong sense of community, and I feel like when one of us does well or one of us is succeeding, we all have that shared sense of pride.
So when Eala plays, we all get together and we all watch her support her as a group of people.
Are there actual gatherings?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's
We plan our dinners around that stuff.
Really? You signed up for Tennis Channel to watch her?
Yeah, because sometimes they don't show it.
So the year subscription, just in case?
The monthly.
Oh, the monthly. Okay.
The monthly, just in case she doesn't play, then we don't.
Alex Eala arrived there as the 31st seed, the first Filipino player ever to appear in the main draw. And instead of spending her off-court time managing the historic weight of that, she walked around with a camera and talked to her fans. That is either the most grounded thing a player in her position could do or the most calculated. And given everything we know about how she has handled her rise, the humility, the deflection of comparisons to Manny Pacquiao, the willingness to acknowledge losses without excuses, the most grounded explanation is probably the accurate one. Now, let's talk about the actual daily structure because the casual video presence is only the visible layer. Underneath it is a routine that is anything but casual.
Didn't think would happen because of what I'm doing on tour. So. Okay, first impression is that it's
The day typically starts early. Before the fan interactions, before the camera, before the Indian Wells lawn, and the conversations with people holding Philippine flags, there is a 2-hour morning tennis session that sets the foundation for everything else. This is not a light warm-up. This is technical, focused, high-intensity work on the specific elements of her game that define how she competes at the WTA. Game is built on an aggressive baseline style. The forehand is her primary weapon, a ball that opponents describe as heavy, meaning it carries through the court with a pace and spin combination that makes it harder to handle than the raw speed alone would suggest. Building and maintaining that forehand under the physical demands of a full WTA schedule requires daily technical work that most casual fans never see. The grinding repetition of hitting the same shot hundreds of times in a session, adjusting the contact point by fractions, working on the stance and the follow-rough until the mechanics are automatic enough to hold up under match pressure at any ranking level. At the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, where Ella has trained since she was a teenager, that kind of work is the baseline expectation. The academy is not a comfortable environment in the way that word is sometimes used to describe places that accommodate you. It is a demanding environment that is comfortable in the sense that the standards are clear and consistent. You know what is expected. You either meet it or you work until you do. Rafael Nadal's own career, the clay court dominance, the relentless physical conditioning, the ability to compete at the highest level through injuries that would have ended most careers is the cultural reference point for what the academy stands for. Eala trained there as a student, which meant she was not just managing a professional tennis schedule. She was managing academic requirements alongside the physical and technical demands of one of the most rigorous tennis development programs in the world. And the way she handled that combination produced something that has followed her through her professional career. The ability to compartmentalize.
Alex,
Thank you. I've arrived at Indian Wells, so please come and show your support. Hello mga kababayan, manood kayo sa akin dito sa Indian Wells. Kita-kita tayo dito.
She said it herself in a way that is worth quoting directly. When she stepped on court, she left school concerns at the gate so she could give her training 100%. And when she was in an academic setting, she gave that her full attention too. The mental switch between contexts, the ability to be fully present in one environment without carrying the stress of the other is not a skill most people develop naturally. It is built through deliberate practice over time, and the fact that she identified it as something she consciously developed tells you it was not easy. It took work like everything else she has accomplished. The midday structure on tournament days and training days looks different but serves the same purpose. The body that is performing at the level required to beat Jasmine Paolini to reach quarterfinals in Dubai to win matches against top 10 players does not maintain itself on tennis alone. The nutrition is managed carefully, balanced to meet the energy demands of a training schedule that involves multiple sessions per day without tipping into the kind of excess that slows recovery. The afternoon session shifts from technical tennis work to physical conditioning, weight training, footwork, and agility drills. And the recovery work that keeps a professional athlete functional across a full tour schedule. The physiotherapy and recovery component is the least glamorous part of the day and probably the most important. Professional tennis is a sport that asks the body to do the same explosive movements thousands of times per week. The lateral push off the baseline, the shoulder rotation through the serve, the deceleration on a wide ball. Without deliberate recovery work, those repetitions accumulate into injuries. The WTA Tour is full of talented players whose careers were shortened or interrupted not by a lack of skill, but by the physical cost of competing at the top level without adequate recovery. ELA's ability to stay healthy through a schedule that has included the Australian Open, the Middle East Swing, and now Indian Wells in quick succession is not an accident. It is a managed process. And then there is the evening. The part of the day that the training schedule does not own. What comes out in the Indian Wells footage is that Alex Eala's off-court time looks a lot like what she is, a 20-year-old who happens to be one of the best tennis players in the world. She talks to fans with genuine warmth and without the practice distance that some athletes develop when their public profile grows large enough to require managing. She walks through the Indian Wells grounds and has real conversations with people who drove hours or flew across the Pacific to be there. The fan interactions at Indian Wells were not manufactured moments for the camera. They were the natural result of what the Eala effect actually looks like at ground level. Fans raising their hands to indicate it was their first time at a professional tennis tournament. People who had signed up for Tennis Channel subscriptions specifically to watch her matches and only paying for the monthly plan so they could cancel between her tournaments, which is the most specific and slightly unhinged form of athletic devotion. Families who plan their dinners around match times. Communities that gather together to watch on screens because the experience of watching alone does not feel adequate to the occasion. One fan said something that landed in a way that a longer speech could not have. She said, "Eala is humble and works hard. That is why we like her. Not because she is ranked 31st in the world. Not because of the Nike deal or the magazine covers or the viral practice clips. Because she is humble and works hard." Those are the two qualities that the Filipino community has consistently cited when explaining the specific nature of their connection to her. And they are the two qualities that her own daily routine confirms are not performance. They are just who she is. The community dimension of what is happening around Eala is worth examining because it is genuinely unusual in professional sports. Filipino fans are not just watching her matches. They are organizing their social lives around them. Real gatherings, group dinners timed to match schedules. A sense of shared experience in watching her compete that one fan described perfectly. When one of us is succeeding, we all feel that shared sense of pride. The Filipino community's famous sense of collective identity. The Bayanihan spirit that shows up in times of both difficulty and celebration has found an expression in Alex Eala's tennis career that nobody planned and nobody could have manufactured. She acknowledged that herself at Indian Wells. She said her friends at home had told her the courts were full, that things were happening because of what she was doing on tour that she had not anticipated and could not have predicted. Courts being full at home is not a small thing. Tennis infrastructure in the Philippines is not abundant. Courts are not easy to access everywhere. And yet, the ripple effect of one player competing at the highest level of the sport has produced a demonstrable increase in participation interest at home. People are picking up rackets because she exists. The Rafa Nadal connection adds another layer to the story that does not get discussed as often as it should. Nadal is not just a name associated with the academy. He has trained alongside Eala and his coaching team has had direct input into her development. The principles embedded in that environment, the relentless physical conditioning, the mental toughness, the refusal to give away points, the competitive intensity that does not distinguish between important matches and practice sets are visible in how she plays. The heavy ball, the aggressive baseline game, the willingness to compete through difficult stretches in a match without going passive. Those qualities do not develop by accident. They develop in an environment where the standard is set by the most physically committed player in the history of the sport. Her brother Miko has also been part of the support structure throughout her career. The family connection in her story is not background noise. It is central to who she is and how she competes. The parents who supported the decision to send a teenager to train in Spain. The brother who has served as a coach and a consistent presence in her corner. The mother who reportedly watched a California governor acknowledge her daughter and was moved to tears. The journey from Quezon City to the Rafa Nadal Academy to the 31st seat at Indian Wells is not a solo story. It is a family story that a community has adopted as its own. And in the middle of all of it, Alex Eala finishes her morning practice, picks up a camera, and says, "Come spend the day with me." That is the whole story in one sentence. The discipline is real. The work is relentless. The routine is demanding in ways that most people watching from the outside will never fully understand. And at the end of it, she wants to share the day with the people who showed up to watch. That is who she is. And at 32 in the world